live from the parking lot of Sprouts Farmers Market in beautiful San Juan, Puerto Rico. No.
I'm not even going to laugh. I was just wondering what he was pausing for. He was having a hard time saying.
We're 25 minutes late this morning.
It's always my fault, but you know.
No, it's just
it's
Tuesday.
a grocery store, you know.
And we're dealing with
people almost Thanksgiving shopping something.
Yeah.
Almost.
So we have a special guest with us today.
We don't.
No, we don't.
It's just me.
It's just you. And I'm going to turn this around so we'll get to see you. And I'll see you too. So there you are.
Oh,
almost my anniversary bride.
Oh, God, we have to talk about that.
56 years.
No, I did talk about this briefly somewhere. It's not our silver anniversary or our golden anniversary or our paper anniversary, but there's no 56 that I thought. Anyway, I thought that 56, after I had a cup of coffee and thought about this, I thought for about 1 second, I was inspired to say it's our fiberglass anniversary.
I'm going to give her a little fiberglass
He's not
unicorn.
Going to give me anything fiberglass, but I don't want any fiberglass anything. Please.
I'm going to get a fiberglass toast holder.
It seemed like the perfect thing because it starts out so stinky and separate, and it ends up indestructible. I don't know.
It's eternal.
It's toxic. It's eternally toxic.
It's eternal.
Eternally
it's
toxic.
a symbol of my eternal love.
And 57 will be. I really like this though. Linoleum. If I won the lotto, I would get a linoleum kitchen. Anyway, real linoleum, not vinyl. And 58 should be Bakelite.
Yes.
If you remember Bakelite.
Hopefully, I can afford that.
We're 50. Anyway, I wasn't going to talk about it. I was going to talk about God, who knows?
Flies and cockroaches.
Yeah, things. Yes. Well, Lon reads the neighborhood thing, and somebody was kind enough to say, because Sacramento's one of the mascots is cockroaches, and the other is rats, and the other is slugs.
I think that's the football team. The
slugs, the cockroaches, and the rats. Anyway, there are cockroaches in our yard under the bags of manure and stuff I have stocked under a pot and stuff outside. We very seldom in the winter see a cockroach come in the house, and I carry them out and throw them over the fence and say, go somewhere else, and they immediately come right back. I mean, you can see them turn around after they land, even if they land on their heads. Poor things. So anyway, I don't like, it's not worth killing them. There's so many. And I figure, where do they have to live? They can't live outside, I mean, anyway, and we saw, Lon read to me someone in the neighborhood who was kindly recommending an exterminator who came in and got rid of all their webs and God knows what else and sprayed everywhere inside and outside, and they were so pleased that when they woke up the next morning, there were hundreds of dead cockroaches outside their door. And I thought, does that make you happy? I mean, first of all, you killed all. You're responsible for all that stuff that you can't make and where they're supposed to live. But forget that even. Cockroaches, we just saw this thing about on PBS, the biggest mass extinction ever, way millions of years before the dinosaurs' mass extinction. And one of the things that survived that were cockroaches. And I thought, so if you got an exterminator coming around your house, putting such strong poison out that it's killing hundreds of cockroaches overnight, do you feel safe walking around there yourself? Haven't you just poisoned yourself and your children and your environment terribly? I mean, anyway, never go on that. That's not what I came to talk about.
You were preaching to the cockroaches.
Oh, I was out on the back porch one night, and sometimes when you're out there, you see one cockroach or two, and because it's dark. Not this time of year, but when it gets cooler. And I was out there, and I just started blessing them, kind of like thinking, don't come in the house. But I was admiring the fact that their relatives and that their genetic history was so enduring. And
They're older than rocks.
no, they're not. Well, some rocks maybe.
Yeah.
But they're really awesome in a way that, I don't want them in the house. And I'm not going to poison them or...
What's a cockroach sermon sound like?
I'm not going there. Like any other. Who cares? Nothing is separate. But I wanted to talk about, because nothing is separate, about making decisions, kind of. There's a reason for this, because I'm going to tell a fly story later about making decisions, and about your holy guardian angel, or your spirit guide, or your personal Pentecost experience of being united with the Holy Spirit that is the translator between you and the big whatever it is, the real big yourself. Unite your big self to your small self to your big self. In whom do you put your trust? And you'll say, well, some people say God, some people say put your trust in yourself, but it's not. That's kind of a trick question, because first of all, there's no difference, and it's not your little separate, limited, tiny ego self that you put your trust in, because that self, I know personally from being old and having some experience that I don't know anything, and I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know anything where I am right now, and it'd just be best if I listen to try to be quiet and listen to some guidance most of the time, because I can't figure it out myself anyway. So so that leads to the story about the fly. So I've been feeling that way lately, and I've been just taking a minute out to say, okay, I don't know anything, obviously, because I'm here, and I don't know how to deal with it, obviously, because I'm here, and just in general. So I'm just willing to, I don't know anything, but I'm willing to learn everything. And okay, so just say that, and then I just kind of let it go and remind myself during the day of stuff like that, and then I got like a small, I don't want to say blessing. I had a small semi-mystical experience, because I was in the kitchen cutting this acorn squash in half and ripping its sinuous guts out with a spoon, and Lon's in the office doing so, and I'm making dinner, and I've already probably been in there 2 hours, because it usually takes me about 3 hours to make dinner and an hour to clean up. Anyway, and
but you digress.
But I digress. He doesn't want to hear that part. And Lon was in his office, and Lon doesn't have a terrible bug phobia, but okay, he's afraid of bugs. He won't even look at the black widow spiders that I have named around the house, out in the backyard. He doesn't want to look at them. So he doesn't have, but he says, there's a big bug in my office. And I'm going, oh God. I said, get the bathroom glass, and I have this plastic card from a pizza company that has ads on it, and I wrote spider lover on it, and I used the stainless steel glass and the spider lover card, and I catch the spiders, not the daddy long ones, but the other ones that I don't know who they are, and take them outside. So I said, get the cup and the spider lover card and try to take it out. No, it might be a bee. I think it's a bee. And so I go in there like an idiot, and this is all taking place in about 2 minutes time. I'm not exaggerating at all. And I look in there, it's a fly. And because our house...
It was a big fly.
It was an ordinary house fly.
It was...
But it was in his office.
Huge, hairy.
No, and our bedroom, and his office windows won't close because we pay so much rent that they can't figure out how to make windows close. So they're open about an inch, so we stuff bubble wrap in there. So he was stuck in between the screen and the closed window with the bubble wrap in there. And I said, I'm opening this bubble wrap, a little tiny scrap. You better come down here, because... this is the only way out of here. And Lon was listening to this. This is the only way out of here. Otherwise, there might be a spider in there that's going to get you, or you're going to die cold and hungered in the night, and that's going to be it. So, but then something popped into my head. I ran into the kitchen, got this wet piece of squash sinew right next to the seeds, put it on a tiny piece of paper towel, opened that bubble wrap about an inch, seriously, sat it down, and I said, okay, come here, because it's smelly but not stinky, but it's odorific. I sat down, and it didn't take 3 seconds for that fly to climb from the top of that window on the inside screen down to the hole, down to the squash, landed on the squash. I took it out, put it in the glass that I had sitting there for it. I didn't even really have to cover it up. I took it outside, sat in the crotch of a tree outside the door. It sat there for at least 10 minutes, eating the squash. Did not fly away. I went out again to check on it. It was washing its face. Went back another 5 minutes later. It was still eating some more. Then later, it obviously flew away. But now the whole point of the story is I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. I just did what was at hand. I felt inspired by the Holy Spirit, whatever. And it all worked out so perfectly that I was actually strangely blissed out for a whole day that, God, if I could have guidance like that in all the rest of my life. So I recommend that you say, I don't know anything. I don't even know how to deal with this. I don't care what you call it, guidance from somewhere else. Or not somewhere else, it's in you. But guidance that's bigger instead of limited guidance that's petty and small. That's all. That's enough for today. Lon has a real show.
I
told him if I started, I was going to do the whole show.
Well,
I tell him every Tuesday morning, I think I'm never going to say anything again, and then.
Well.
Oh, I cleaned the gutters this week too, for 2 days.
Yes, she got on the ladder.
Yeah,
okay,
way high.
I held the ladder for a while and complained.
The first day I did it all myself on the third step of the ladder, but the second day I had to get up on the fourth step and put my arm on a socket to pull the goop out.
And it still rained, and the rain ran down our.
Well, just one part of it. 90% of it was fixed.
So we've got.
Who knows what the issues
morning
are? But
we
anyway,
got plumbing problems.
Yeah, the toilet's flushing into the shower. But other than that, that will be fixed. It's just this house is a piece of crap.
But we think positive, don't we?
I had a fly miracle yesterday.
Yes, it really was amazing. Okay, because she was back there
I'm not lying.
talking to this fly. And said, you better get down there because there's spiders in there. You're going to get caught in a web.
It took him about 3 seconds to come down. I'm not joking.
Well, it'd probably been in the house for
it was hungry.
It was starving. Okay, it was like, oh my God, squash guts. All right. Okay.
So you turn this around yet?
Yeah. Okay.
Please
say goodbye, dear.
Goodbye. I apologize.
There, I'm back.
I actually hit a point. My life came to a point for a minute anyway.
Okay.
Now it's gonna go disperse in the grocery store, and I'll take too long here too.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee here.
He needs inspiration after that digression.
So, this is where I learn my digressions. Okay, darling.
I'm just a digression in your life.
A happy anniversary, Eve. Yes. A fiberglass anniversary. Well, I won't keep you very, very long today, because that was an interesting story, and we have very interesting conversations after these common miracles that happen 24 hours a day at our house. Anyway, I'm writing a new book, and it's really easy when you're typing away and making graphs and illustrations and figures and things like that, and thinking about things. And the new book will be tarot related, and so that has a certain amount of Kabbalah theory and stuff in it. It's I've written a couple books like that already, so it's not quite like that. This will be something a little bit more kind of exciting, I think. But I've been thinking a whole lot about Earth. Earth with a little e, and Earth with a capital E, and Earth as in Malkuth, and Earth as in the final Hey, and Yod Hey Vav Hey, and Earth as the tarot suit of discs, and the fact that I've also been asked by my good friend Oscar in Taiwan. I think he's in Taiwan now, although I've seen Oscar in Hong Kong and Shanghai too, I believe. He's written a book on geomancy. It'll be in Chinese and stuff, and I've just offered him up a forward to his new book. So I've been thinking about Earth, Earth as in Kabbalah, there's the saying that Malkuth, or number 10 on the Tree of Life, is in Kether, which is number 1 on the Tree of Life. Let's see if okay, I'm sure this is backwards now. But Kether is in Malkuth, as Malkuth is in Kether, only after a different manner. And you can say it just the opposite. Malkuth is in Kether as Kether is in Malkuth, only after a different manner. Or Kether is in Malkuth, whatever, okay. And so look what we've got here. We've got a Hey. The big 4-letter name of God isn't really a 4-letter name of God. It's a 3-letter name of God. Hey shares a position, in a sense, with a Hey on the supernal triad. The Yod would be like a father or a king, and the queen would be in Bina. See how the little cap of Yod is up here in number 1, but it actually lives down here in number 2, and number 3 is that first Hey. So Yod Hey takes in the entire supernal triad. Vav, or the princes in the Tree of Life, or the element of air, okay, takes in the macrocosm, if you will. And then the microcosm down here is in that Hey final. So it'd be like father, mother, son, daughter. And the whole initiatory process is you starting out as the daughter, gaining knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel, your prince, who then turns you, what used to be the old unenlightened, unawakened you, turns you into a mother. See, the Vav knocks you up, makes you a mother, making him the father. Okay. And this idea of people think, oh, it's heaven on earth. Now, in reality, it is heaven of earth. Earth and heaven aren't two things. When you open your eyes and look around the parking lot here, you're looking at heaven. if you're not looking at heaven, there isn't a heaven. Kether is in Malkuth as Malkuth is in Kether. And that's what I wanted to kind of share today. Malkuth has been called, and matter itself, and the element earth has been called the tomb of matter. But the tomb is also the temple of initiation, according to, initiatory traditions. The tomb is a tomb, but it's also the temple of initiation. Because number 10 encapsulates an entire collection of the tiny bits of absolutely everything, the full spectrum of light and energy from the highest high to the lowest low. It's like the sediment of absolutely everything from the highest high to the lowest low. And in number 10, it's the only sephira of the whole tree that has a complete set of vibratory material enough to literally clone itself back to Godhead. Now, if you can just imagine that cloning process, that there's enough genetic material to clone something back to its original state, a redintegration, if you will. But the magic comes, and the initiatory process comes from, well, how do you get that lowest of the low? How do you process that raw material of little bits of everything from the highest high to the lowest low? What do you do with that to get it out of the tomb and back into Godhead? And that's the alchemical process. You process yourself alchemically. You work on the tomb. You don't escape from the tomb. You turn the tomb into Godhead. Okay? Let's see here. Let's see here. The Holy Guardian Angel, which is that Vav on the tree there, is more than the projected image of our perfected self or the voice of our own conscience. It's more than the innocent inherent knowledge between right and wrong. It's more than the divine ear that hears us when we look to heaven and pray, "Oh God, just get me out of this and I'll never do anything so stupid again." But what that more than is difficult to discuss. Abramelin doesn't even spend much time trying. Get your angel and have him explain. Seems to be the thrust of his advice. And in the final analysis, it's probably the wisest counsel. Nevertheless, since knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel is of such supreme importance to the spiritual career of the aspirant, it might be helpful to see how the concept might be more clearly illustrated. And to do this, I will use the Emerald Tablet of Hermes. Now, I'm not going to read the Emerald Tablet. It's only 13 verses, so I can read the whole thing. But I comment, of course, on each of the verses of the Emerald Tablet, and I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to focus in on one of them. And the book I'm reading from is Angels, Demons, and Gods of the New Millennium. But here's how the Manly Palmer Hall translation of the Emerald Tablet goes. It is true and no lies, certain and to be depended upon, that the superior agrees with the inferior, and the inferior with the superior, to effect that one truly wonderful work. As all owe their things to the existence, to the will of the only one, so all things owe their origin to the only one thing. the most hidden by the arrangement of the only God. And they set up a thing where there's three things. Okay, there's the only one thing, there's the only one, and then there's the only God. And all of those are lumped together as the Father of, and then at the very bottom, all things in the universe. That's sort of a hermetic tree of life thing there. Okay, let's see. The father of the one only thing is the sun. Its mother is the moon. The wind carries it in its wings, but its nurse is a spiritus earth. Okay. I talk about Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh here. Here we go. Separate that spiritus earth from the dense or crude earth by means of a gentle heat with much attention. At this point, the aspirant may well ask, if my holy guardian angel needs me so much, why doesn't it just swoop down and pick me up and drag me off to some heavenly fertility rite? The simple reason is this. Your HGA is stuck in place because you are hoarding the stash of spiritus earth. You and you alone can extract a usable portion of this precious commodity from yourself and get it to the angel. To do this, you must process yourself as though you were the primary ingredient in a chemistry experiment and separate the subtle spiritus earth from your dense, crude earth. When the subtle fire of the spiritus earth is released, it ascends and burns through the membranes, separating the microcosm from the macrocosm. From 10, the membrane that separates 10 from 987654, and a little of 3. I won't argue that this sounds like the plot of a cheap science fiction novel. And for good reason. It is the underlying truth of the mythological scaffolding of Western civilization from the fall of man to the Star Wars trilogy. One cannot achieve the knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel by blindly following the procedures outlined in a book. As detailed as Abramellin's instructions are, they provide us only with an elaborate formula of invocation. Okay, and I go on here. The 6th verse of the Emerald Tablet, which I just read, tells us that the spiritus earth is separated from the dense or crude earth by means of a gentle heat, with much attention. This gentle heat is love, and as anyone who's ever been in love will tell you, the matters of the heart, the mind often just gets in the way. It does not take a scholar to fall desperately in love, to generate the heat necessary to separate the spiritus earth from the dense earth. The primary skill you need to possess is the ability to be agonizingly lovesick for the angel. With the pure intensity of an adolescent who obsessively fantasizes a romantic encounter with a movie star or rock idol, you must physically, emotionally, and spiritually yearn for your angel's touch. Every act of life must become an act of devotion to your beloved. You groom yourself so as to be attractive to your angel. You sleep so that you may dream of your angel. You surround yourself with tokens and symbols reminiscent of your angel. Of course, the Hindus call that Bhakti Yoga. let's see here. Okay, I'm going to do the next verse of the Emerald Tablet. In great measure, after you've released that spiritus earth, in great measure it ascends from earth up to heaven, and then down again, newborn on the earth. Heaven and earth becomes heaven on earth, becomes heaven of earth. And the superior and the inferior are increased in power. Okay. That's all I'm going to leave you with today. We've had quite a morning of holy guardian angels, cockroaches, and flies. So until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.